What is going on, good people? I've really been contemplating my life. And you know how like you set these financial goals for yourself. You're like, okay, let's look back like 10 years. You're like, I want to make, this amount of money in my life. And then you get to that place where you're making that amount of money. And then you realize, the same more problems with more money. It's not necessarily problem. It's just that you all of a sudden acquiring all these things and you got all this responsibility. And so then now all that money that you're making is going to this responsibility. So in a sense, I mean, if you want to correlate that to a problem, I mean, you can. But I'm having this conversation with this girl and she's talking about her job and she's just like, yeah, they're going to let me go if I don't sell X amount of whatever it is that she's selling. I'm not going into her personal business or anything. And I said, well, it sounds like you are going to have to find another job. Then she goes into telling me how much the people make at her job. And I said, well, you gonna have to figure it out, child. She told me that their commission is like $60,000 a pop. So the people at her job are making $1 million a year. Now I didn't know that Basic Jobs was making $1 million a year, but this had me. I almost started crying because I was like, what am I doing with my life over here? And what do I need to do differently? And I feel like when I look back on the past, like, even more than 10 years ago, and I think about like what my expectations were for myself financially. And I was like, these are my goals and this is what I want to accomplish. And then I accomplished it. I'm like, what is stopping me from making $1 million a year? Now, a lot of people just want to make $1 million a year because they just want to be rich. They want to be able to afford certain things. And then there's people like me who life has handed them some rough cards and they learn to flip them cards around and let them jokers lay aside. And so now they're like, I'm playing this game a little bit differently. So it's all about investments. So then when you look at the income that you're making and the amount of time that it takes for you to set aside the substantial amount of money to be able to do the things you want to do, you're looking at time differently. So now you're like, damn, this is going to take me a couple of years to get where I need to be. And then like in a couple of years, like things is going to be ridiculously more expensive. So how am I going to be able to do this? Yeah, we both trying to figure this out. So it's like when I accomplish this, because I believe that I will accomplish this, because I've set my intention in many things in life and I have accomplished them. But these greater things that I'm still trying to figure out, I think the universe aligns us with people who are making substantial amounts of money so that we can realize how close in proximity it is to us. But it's not for us to just be wealthy because, I mean, even the Bible says that money answereth all things. So I'm not saying that it solves all problems because that's not what I just said. What I'm saying is that your ability to move at a faster rate is maximized. And so if that's your intention and goal, which is mine, then I can understand why you're trying to make some more money. But it's like, we talk about this manifesting thing and speaking what you want. And I don't think that that's like really at the forefront of society right now. Like people aren't talking about it as much. But it's a thing. I mean, even biblically, it talks about like speaking things as though they were, even though they're not. So I'm just paraphrasing, but I'm just saying you're supposed to speak things into existence. But you have to understand why you're trying to create this in existence. What's your intention? What is the purpose? What's the reason? What do you plan to get back once you acquire this? These are all things that you need to think about because if you're just selfishly thinking about your goddamn self, you might just not manifest it. So you're gonna have to think about this, okay? What are you going to get back when you get this money, Zen? What you gonna do? Tell them. because you have to know. But anyways, I felt extremely motivated just knowing that I was in the proximity of somebody who is in a position to make $1 million a year. You know, what I'm making is pennies compared to this person. Jesus. If anything, I hope I can make you laugh. But really, the point of this video is like, what is your next financial goal? It don't have to be $1 million. Why is that your goal? What do you plan to accomplish? Don't be talking about buying no bags or getting no outfits. What are you really planning to accomplish with getting that increase? Ooh, increase. And what do you plan to get back as a result? Because you should be thinking about others in some aspect. Because like we're all going to leave this earth. And I think that you don't need to be 99 to be thinking about these things. We're here temporarily. And it's like, what does that legacy look like for you? Is it words? Is it you helping somebody else to get their footing together so that they can establish goals and to be able to be in a position where they want to be is where they end up? So how do you plan to get back once you meet those goals? I remember when I was making hardly anything and I had this, tithing. Tithing was something that was in my mind. So like I've given many first checks, not first checks. Let me correct myself. I've given first checks, but I've given my tax returns to the church. But this isn't a religious video. What I'm emphasizing is that as a result of you receiving, there always has to be something given back, because that's kind of like a universal law. So not everything that you get back has to be financial, but there has to be a give and take, right? And so when you are thinking about what it is that you want to manifest in your life, what financial goal that you have to think about how you're going to get back. It should always be a pressing feeling in your subconscious, in your conscious mind. What am I giving back? Am I giving back a message? I always try to speak something positive or to give people information that I wish I would have received. Like the job that I currently have, I had people tell me about this job at 3 different phases of my life. Yes, 3 different phases of my life. When I finished college, when I was starting another degree, right? And until I finally decided that I was going to take on this career. And then I realized I should have took on this career when I first heard about it. Damn. You know, we can't change my dog. My dog is like, girl, your personality. But anyways, so what I'm saying is we can't turn the hands of time. You can't change the mistakes that you made, but actually you can sharpen yourself and sharpen your aptitude, right? Your potential by now having all of this information and knowledge in your belt to make better decisions and to be able to give back. So now you can help those people not make the mistakes that you made. So even though sometimes we feel like that slight resentment, like, well, they should have to go through what I went through, right? A lot of people in our jobs or in the workforce, they're upset that you didn't have to start off the way that they did. But that's not where God has, and that's not where the universe has placed you. So let them accept that. But what are you going to do so that people don't have to go and tread the path that you did, right? What things could you tell them to help them avoid those unnecessary hiccups? Now, we have these stubborn people in society that are going to do what they want to do and learn lessons their own way. And that is completely fine. But that doesn't take away from the fact that you're giving back. So let that be the one thing to resonate in your mind today is, what do I plan to give back as a result of what I am receiving? And with that being said, deuces.